What's up, YouTube? This is CJ.
And Sarah.
It's a Wednesday, and that means it's time for another Keto
Conversations.
So let's get this started. So you go ahead and introduce the topic, the title of the topic, because you got it written down better than I
did. Tonight we are going to be discussing 6 possible reasons you aren't making progress.
Right. You know, is this kind of like Dave Letterman's like top 10 list? I don't know if you ever remember that.
I was never a Dave Letterman watcher.
Oh, really?
Mm-mm. I did Leno, even Carson, Arsenio, but not Letterman.
Arsenio, geez, that's a long time ago. Wow. Way back. You must have been a baby when that was out.
Oh, thank you.
Surprised your mama let you stay up that late.
I had my own little teeny tiny TV. It was black and white. Because it was like a Castaway TV. You know, nowadays people have nicer remote. No, I had to sit really close to it so that I could change the channel. Well, I only had like 3 channels. That's true. So
that's true. All right, let's get this started. So 6 possible reasons you aren't making progress on keto.
Because we put possible in there.
Yeah.
Because we can't guarantee these are the reasons why you might not be making as much progress as you would like, but they're thoughts to consider.
They're just thoughts and not trying to be judgmental.
Right, because we are not doctors. We are not giving medical advice.
And some of these actually speak to me, some of them, and I'll talk about those as we get going.
Okay.
All right, so number 1, you don't stick to the plan long enough because you're impatient. So you don't stick with the plan long enough because you're impatient.
Right. So say you start the ketogenic diet and say the first 2 weeks you lose like 12 pounds. Part of that's going to be water. Let's be real. Anytime you're releasing glycogen from your cells, it's likely to be mostly water. Okay. So then the 3rd week you go into it and you only lose 1 pound, maybe 2. So then the freak out starts. Oh, I'm stalled. I'm not going to lose any more. Maybe I should start an egg fast. Maybe I should start a real fast. Maybe I should run around the block 400 times.
Right.
Trust the process.
Right.
It isn't a race, and every week is not going to be the same.
Right. So know that keto works.
Yes.
Know that it works. It works before you even started it. It works.
But you have to be reasonable.
But you have to be reasonable. Right. You have to realize that the success you had maybe at the beginning is not always going to be the success that you're going to have continually throughout your
It took a long time for most of us to gain weight.
Right.
And you actually are going to lose it faster than you did gain it.
So if you think about it this way, if you were to lose just 1 pound a week, that's 52
pounds
in a year. That's you know, you ever seen those things on Instagram where people say, I lost 52 pounds, and that is equal to like
4 tires.
4 tires
or something.
Yes. So I should look up, find what that is equal to. But if you just lost 1 pound a week,
and that's what's recommended on any diet that you were to go on.
Is 1 pound a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
sometimes 2, but between 1 and 2 a week max is generally what they recommend for it to be actual fat.
Yeah, and you know, I guess I get it. We get it. I mean, because we're impatient when we're trying to lose weight. You know, we start this thing, we heard about this keto thing, and everybody's having success.
We want to be at our goal yesterday.
And we think it's going to this magic thing is going to just take all the weight off right away. Or your husband started, he lost 50 pounds in 2 weeks.
Men and women lose weight differently.
And you barely lost 10. So, again, keto works. Trust the process.
Don't be impatient.
It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong when the weight slows down. It just means it's time for it to slow down, and just keep following through, keep doing the things that you need to do, and stick with the plan long term.
Yes.
Yep. So that's the point number 1. Number 2, so this is you engage in repetitive exercise. So now we realize that everybody who watches our channel, you don't necessarily exercise. No. We realize that, and you actually are an example of someone who lost quite a bit on keto and didn't really exercise.
I have a physical I have a physical job.
Right, but you didn't exercise.
But I did not deliberately engage in physical activity in a confined setting.
Right. So you didn't on purpose exercise trying to assist keto to help you lose weight.
No, I did not.
And so,
I have not.
So this point is, for some of you, if you don't exercise, that's cool. You don't have to exercise on keto for keto to work. There's all kinds of examples. In fact, here's one right here. I lost the majority of my weight on keto without exercise. But if you do exercise, one of the things to think about is, are you doing the same exercises all the time,
day in and day out,
and has your body gotten used to the repetitive exercises that you're doing? And so because it's used to it, it's no longer effective as it was when you first started.
Your muscles have memory, correct?
Yeah, because your muscles have memory. And so again, if you're doing the, if you exercise and you're going, say you walk on the treadmill, or you're doing the elliptical, or even if you're lifting weights, if you're doing the same program over and over again all the time, again, your body has the muscle memory. It starts to adjust.
Like if you're working your legs every Tuesday and your back every Thursday.
It can become used to what you're doing.
Right.
And so if you do exercise, consider changing it up. Change up things, do something different. If you're lifting weights, there's all types of different ways that you can change up a weightlifting program. You can change your sets, you can change the amount that you're lifting. There's all kinds of variations. Like I said, if you're doing weights, one of the things that I just started doing, in fact yesterday was the first day and I'm still alive, so this is pretty awesome, is I heard some people talking at work talking about the Couch to 5K app. And that's basically what that, in a nutshell, that is. There's apps that help you to, if you're a couch potato or anybody who doesn't run that much, it gives you a program so that at the end of, 9 weeks?
Yeah, you're marathon ready?
You can,
so to speak.
You're 5K ready.
Okay.
Not a marathon, but you're 5K ready. And it's a program, it's a combination of, it tells you how to walk, it tells you when to walk, it tells you when to run, it tells you...
So is it almost like a HIIT training program?
Yeah, it's kind of like, you can look at it as HIIT, kind of high intensity interval training. That's what HIIT, that's what HIIT stands for, is high intensity interval training, where you, you can kind of look at it like that. I mean, yesterday I went out with my daughter and it took, I don't know how long. I know after the whole thing was done, it was over a mile and a half, but it was a combination of running, walking, running. But
you guys were only gone for like 40 minutes. So
yeah,
it did everything in a short space of time.
Yeah, it does it in a short thing. Yeah. You only do it 3 times a week.
Right.
I'm not saying that everybody needs to do that. I'm just using it as an example of something that I've just started. I actually feel pretty good today. I thought I would be a lot sore than I was, but it's something different for me. I've kind of gotten into a routine with other stuff that I've been doing as far as exercise. So this was something that kind of was a stretch and an example of. And the app helps you do something
different every day, practically, doesn't it?
Well, it'll have you. The app will have you. It may change up the intervals for the running, for the walking. It gets harder and harder, or you start running further and further, or longer and longer, because it's all timed. Mm-hmm. So the walking is timed, the running is timed. It's just an example of something that I'm doing that's different. It's not repetitive. It's not repetitive. It's stretching out, and I'm only doing it 3 days a week. I'll also incorporate, weightlifting in between. And some stretching, probably more stretching than I do now. Yeah. But anyway, that's just an example. I'm not saying everybody needs to do that. It's just something that I thought about doing and heard about, and just say, why not try to do it? So anyway, so if you're doing exercise, change it up. Don't get stuck in the routine of doing repetitive exercise. Number 3, you eat when you're not hungry.
Yes.
Okay, and I can be an expert on that. I'm doing better with that, but I still need to work on that.
How is the intermittent fasting going?
The intermittent fasting, I started intermittent fasting, 3-4 weeks ago, probably about a month ago.
Yeah, about 3 weeks, I think.
And last week wasn't all that great. And most of it was in my head. It wasn't, the function of fasting is actually pretty simple. You just don't eat. So it was in my head, so that mentally, I was, I'll throw out a bunch of excuses. I was moving at work, and there was a lot of stress at work, and my dog was sick, and my feet hurt, and all that stuff. But anyway, it was a bad week for intermittent fasting for me.
But you did mention to me that you noticed a difference in that when you do practice intermittent fasting, that your stomach doesn't feel as bloated.
Oh yeah. When I practice intermittent fasting, I feel an immediate difference, and it helps me with this whole point, eating when I'm not hungry.
Right.
Because I actually and we're not saying that you have to intermittent fast.
No.
This is just something that I've been trying to do. But even before the intermittent fasting, eating when you're not hungry is not a good idea. Right. We've been taught in our society this whole thing of, some people, it's funny because somebody said, I've never heard about eating 6 meals a day.
They were from another country.
But before keto, I was, even when I went to different dietitians to try to lose weight.
It's 6 small meals a day.
It was 6 small meals a day, with the ideal of that was going to keep your metabolism, keep you burning
That's
calories,
in the U.S. dietary guidelines.
And keep your metabolism up. And so if you have bought into that dogma that we've been kind of taught, then you have a habit of eating all the time.
Well, and even if you're practicing keto, and granted, starting out, maybe you are practicing, you're holding on to your macros and that kind of thing.
Sure.
And maybe that can help you maybe learn portion sizes or things like that initially. But at some point, you're going to have to release that constant dependence on macros as far as where you have to get in everything that you think you're getting in.
Yeah.
Those are guidelines. Yeah. Remember, they're guidelines. They're a template. It doesn't mean that you have to eat to the maximum of those macros every day, especially if you're not hungry. If you're hungry, then sure, eat to satiation. But if you're not hungry, don't say, well, I've still got, 10 fat grams I got to get in, and you're just pile driving fat bombs, and you're eating a stick of butter because you got to reach this mystery number.
Yeah. And so if you're eating when you're not hungry, that's something for you to work on. It might be something that's holding you back.
Right.
And I know, again, that it's something that that I have to work on and continually work on, not just one day, but have to work on all the time that I eat when I'm not hungry. And the thing about the intermittent fasting that was good is that, it was interesting that if I got really busy at work and couldn't eat at the quote-unquote lunchtime, or I got so busy that I didn't have time to eat, wow, I didn't shrivel up and die, because I went,
you tapped into your adipose tissue
20 hours past my, when I was supposed to eat. I actually made it, and it was actually, by the time I sat down to eat, it was actually really satisfying because I was truly hungry by the time it was time for me, by the time I got around to eating. Now, when I fast and do like a 16-8 fasting window, by the time I get to the end of, the fasting window, I'm hungry.
You're ready to eat.
I'm ready to eat. Yeah. I'm ready to eat.
But if you're fat adapted, generally eating just like a couple of times a day should be fine. Yeah. That should be fine. I mean, there are going to be times where you're more ravenous because of hormones or whatever, but for the most part, once you're fat adapted, you really should only need to eat a couple of times a day.
Yeah.
So
anyway, that's just something to keep in mind. That's point number 3. Number 4, you blame others or you blame circumstances for the bad food choices that you're making.
This is going to be some more CJ Tough Love.
Well, I don't know. You keep saying, you keep talking about that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work when you tell people that it's going to be tough love.
Okay.
It's just going to be talking. Anyway, it's going to be talking. Maybe I want to turn over a new leaf. So, it's up to each of us to take responsibility for what we eat. I mean, that's just it. It is. And a lot of times it's easy to point to, oh, I had a birthday party,
Somebody pressured me.
Or somebody pressured me, or, I went to see my, my mama and I couldn't turn down that
My husband doesn't eat keto. My wife doesn't eat keto.
Yeah. And really, if you really think about it, those are choices that you're making.
Right.
So I'm going to give you an example. Now, and I have to be careful when I say this because we've been doing keto as a lifestyle.
And we do have each other.
Yeah,
although I was eating keto before you started.
You were solo. But I guess what I want to make sure is I know what I do remember what it feels like I get tempted all the time, even now. I mean, like last Friday, we'd been doing this big office move. And so there's all kinds of stress and pressure because not only do you have to pack all this crap up to move it physically to another building or get somebody else to move it, but you also have work that doesn't stop.
Your regular work.
Regular work doesn't stop. And it's like, so you get all this pressure and all this stress. And so we had this special thing on last Friday, a kumbaya kind of hold hands and talk about our personalities and blah blah blah, which is cool. It was cool. We actually learned a lot when I came home with my results. But anyway, they had Krispy Kreme donuts and they were fresh. And they smell good. I mean, they smell really good. They had cake. They had pizza. 5 or 6 different pizzas to eat. And was I tempted for a second? Yeah, it was. Those donuts smelled really good. But I've done keto long enough to know that that passes. The temptation passes. I don't have to make bad choices.
And if you had eaten it, you probably would have felt disgusting.
I would have felt terrible. Anyway, but I guess what I'm saying is we're all responsible for the choices that we make. And the sooner you kind of own up to that, probably the better it is for you. So if you do falter, just own it.
Right.
Own it. Now, some of us, though, we will falter and own it, but keep faltering all the time.
Right.
So then that might come into the next part about motivation and feelings.
Right.
But don't blame others for the bad choices that you're making. Own up to them and try to do better. Keep in mind why you started keto and what keto is, what it's all about, and why you're doing it. Not the thing. So
let's go ahead and go into the next point then.
Number 5 was you dream more than you do.
So you can think about stuff all day long, but if you don't take action, to me it's like being on a stationary bike. You'll be pedaling, but you're not going anywhere because you're not actually doing.
Right.
You're just talking about doing, thinking about doing. You just are not getting started for some reason. It's that I'll start on Monday. I'll start on Monday. I'll start on Monday.
And Monday,
we're all guilty.
Monday never comes. And I'll just go back to the example of us being on YouTube. If we would have waited until everything was perfect, still not perfect. Everything was that we knew how to do everything, we never would have got on. We never would have made a video for YouTube. We never would have done it. And so you have to do more than you think. A lot of times you need to I'll go back to the couch to 5K thing. That was a conversation that I heard. It was like probably a 5-minute conversation in a lunchroom where a group of people that I kind of know, they were talking about it. I had heard about couch to 5K years ago. Never done it. And I said, and it clicked in my brain. I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I downloaded the app. I paid the $2.99 for the app. And I said, I'm going to do it. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about, okay.
I'd like to someday.
Yeah, I just said, you know what? I'm going to try it. I'm going to download the app. I'm going to take action. And then yesterday, we did the whole Father's Day stuff that you do on Father's Day. And
it's stuff that other people do for you on Father's Day. You're not supposed to do anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I mean. But then I said, okay, I'm going to go do this thing. I didn't necessarily feel like it was at the end of the day. It would have been easier to just... to
do the 5K to the couch.
Yeah, it would have just... Right, it would have been easier. And so, again, you can't just be dreaming. You can't just be thinking about stuff. You have to start doing. You have to put into practice what you're trying to do. If you know what you're supposed to eat on keto, you need to eat it. Right. That's just plain and simple because that's how it's going to work. You got to start taking action to do it.
Right.
Okay.
Which is very similar to point 6.
Yeah, so point number 6, go ahead.
You rely on motivation rather than dedication.
Right.
So you can't wait until you feel in the zone to take action. You kind of have to take the action first, and then that will motivate you to further action.
Yeah. And if I think about that and just life in general, if you take the action first, the feelings and the motivations will come as you take the action.
Right.
I mean, if I think about us doing these videos every week, man, there's a lot of times when we don't feel like doing nothing. There's a lot of times we don't feel like doing a video. It'd be easier to just say, you know what, we can let it go. I
don't want to cook.
Yeah, it'd be easier to do that. And it's like, nope. Just because we feel that way doesn't mean that we're not going to do it.
Right.
And so that's just an example about YouTube. You might say, well, that's kind of extreme. It's just kind of an example. You're not always going to feel like it. You're not always going to feel motivated. You're not always, you're not going to, I don't always feel like being loving to Sarah, but I do. Sometimes.
Wow.
What? Wow. What? I'm telling the truth. People, if you're married to somebody, you don't always feel like you're all magically in love all the time. That's true. People, it's not always a fairy tale.
You're not magically in love with me?
Not 24 hours a day.
The fairies don't come and sprinkle you with love
There's
dust.
not music playing in my head every time you walk in the room. No. Most of the time, sure, but not all the time. You know. Sometimes I'm sure I irritate you. I'm sure I irritate you a lot. I saw you. It's okay. Don't forget, I'm gonna edit this video.
Oh, so darn it! I need to get a new editor.
Everything that you do. But the whole point is don't wait for motivation.
Because the time is gonna pass anyway.
Yeah.
So use that time to be productive. Don't delay your success, because in order to be successful.
You know what? Sometimes keto is a grind. I'm bringing it back to the diet and the keto lifestyle. Sometimes it's a grind. Sometimes it is inconvenient. When you travel, when you go out, you know, and especially when you're new, when you're just starting keto. So sometimes it can be easy to say, oh man, I'm just going to not do it.
Right.
You know, and I don't feel like doing it because I don't feel like going through the hassle.
Right.
That is just life. That is just... But keto will work. Go back to what we said at first. It will work. If you work it, if you continue to do it, it will work for you.
And then it will become...
Just
you know, I've had people say to me, well, you know, I'm going to start keto, but, you know, this week, you know, everything's going on. I've got so much going on that I'm just, you know, eating whatever I want to eat because it's easier. And, you know, next week I'll start keto when things settle down. I'm here to tell you, they ain't never settling down.
And never gonna be a perfect
It doesn't matter what. Your life is never going to settle down. It's the same thing as, you know, it's never a good time to move. It's never a good time to get a new job. It's never the perfect time to have children.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. It's never going to be the perfect circumstances. You're just going to have to start and just keep rolling with it. Because it will never be a perfect time. Never. For anything. Yeah.
So, again, remember, keto will work. These are just some reasons, some thoughts about why you might be struggling or might not be making the progress that you think that you should have. But again, it's all this is said, I guess, in love and motivation to try to help you be successful. Because that's really what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's why we do these.
We're really trying to help you be successful in keto and on your keto journey and have the success you want. Because, you know, even when you don't feel like doing it, if you continue with it, one day you'll actually be able to look backwards and say, wow, I lost 50 pounds. And when you realize that, it'll be like, wow, it really didn't take that long.
Right. Or maybe someone else will see you and get motivation from you.
Yeah, like, I remember a comment somebody wrote to us saying that they went she went to a party with her husband.
And she walked in the door.
Some friends they hadn't seen in a long time.
And it was awkward silence, like crickets chirping in the background. And she's looking around like, what's wrong with y'all? Yeah. They thought he had gotten divorced and married another woman. Because they didn't even recognize her.
Yeah. And so, you know, she had to be feeling like on top of the world that she had changed that much. Yeah. But I'm sure she probably went through times when she didn't feel like doing keto.
Yeah.
When keto wasn't convenient, when she wasn't motivated at all. anyway, I think we beat this enough.
Okay.
And if you are new to our channel, this is our weekly Keto Conversation segment. We do these every week, try to talk about relevant keto topics to help people have success, help our community have success. We do keto unboxings from time to time, once a month. And consider subscribing. We'd love to have you as part of our community, as part of our keto family. We love to have you here because we're all about trying to help each other be successful on our keto journey. We do new recipes every Sunday. Not sure what we're working on for next week, but it'll be a good one. So anyway, thanks for being here. We hope that you have a good rest of the week. And what?
We didn't talk about Steve.
Oh, yeah. So we had a cool experience last week. Was it last week?
Yes.
Check out Keto Steve. I believe that's his channel.
We'll put a link in the description box.
Keto Steve. He's a fellow keto YouTuber. I've liked Keto Steve's channel just like it as a person, just like watching. He's funny.
But and sometimes he'll have like throwdowns. I know he's done some throwdowns with John.
But we had a chance to be interviewed by him for his, I think he's calling the Keto Cast. And that was a cool experience, just to kind of answer questions. And so we wanted to encourage you guys not so much to listen to our thing,
because he has interviewed other people.
He's interviewed a lot of other people, a lot of other keto YouTubers and keto personalities. And so we want to encourage you to check out Keto Steve's channel and give him some love as well. And
be sure and tell him that we sent you.
Yeah, be sure to tell him that we sent you. I'm probably gonna go back and watch some of these previous interviews he did with other people. So anyway, thanks for being here, and we hope that you have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Peace.